It's Since Spacies. 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 Yeah. It's Since Spacies. 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 Yeah. It's Since Spacies. 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 Yeah. It's Since Spacies. 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 Yeah. It's Since Spacies. It's Since Spacies. It's Since Spacies. It's Since Spacies. It's Since Spacies.
Since Spacies.
G'day invaders and welcome to Since Spacies, and we've got audio, we've got visuals, it's all happening. Awesome. I'm glad it's working fine for a change. So this is the Mega Drive mini stream, and yes, I finally got my hands on it. Hang on. And here it is. No, it's not. That's not it. For ages we've had to put up with stuff like this. This is, you know, wasn't a bad effort. Actually accepts real cartridges, but you've got this nonsense in the back. Yeah, not really HDMI, not what we're really after. But this one was a pretty decent effort, but that's not what we're here for. And, well, that was the box for that one. Hang on, what I might do is switch over to webcam mode. There we go. Yeah, so that was the box for that one. I did a video on that, and that's actually my top 5 videos on the channel, was the unboxing and going through this one. So, that was awesome. But for years we've had to put up with this crap. This was given to me. I didn't buy it. The neighbor up the road thought that I thought it would be cool. And I sort of, you know, politely nodded and said thank you. And I've never plugged it in. That's a true story. And, of course, got the original, the OG box. Notice that there's no giveaway. This had no games given with it. This isn't actually the original packaging that I got for my Mega Drive. This is the one that I bought to replace the Japanese one that I had, because I had to trade in the Japanese to get another disc machine. It's a long, complicated story, but the long and the short of it is that originally I had the really cool Japanese box art, and then I had to swap it for the local version, which is, you know, still cool, but the Japanese one was cooler. I'm going to do a quick roll call before I show off the actual Mega Drive. Change of camera angles because I'm doing something different tonight. We have got Game Boy Bryant, Goff. We've also got Goff. Where's my intro for Goff? Come on, I should be getting better at this.
Welcome to the stream, Gothioso.
There we go. We've also got Tommy. How you doing there, matey? Cam, Since Spacies, he's in there in the chat as well. Who else we got? Tommy. We've also got.
Welcome to the stream, Norifumi I.
And we've got What Host Snorkers. Okay, and I've got my wife calling me. She can wait. And Lucas. Lucas, how you doing there, matey? And yes, Cameron, that's a 10 out of 10 song. I totally agree. Let me turn this down for a bit because it is a bit distracting. Why don't they make the mute button so obvious where it's got to go? There we go. I'm going to take the watch off. What's happening is the Sega hotline staff members are chatting away and it's distracting me. Oh, by the way, I've got to show off my watch. 16-bit timepiece. Can't focus. We're going to focus. There we go. So that's my Mega Drive watch. Anyway, so what I'm doing is I'm going to be recording. I'm going to be acting like this is a YouTube video. So if I ignore you guys a little bit in the chat, don't take offense. It's because I'm recording this and then going to put it up on my channel later on. I'm trying to make 100% effective use of my time here tonight. And when you see what I've got set up, it's going to be cool. And it's going to cause a lot of debate in the chats, I think. So you guys ready? We're going to do this. So I'm going to do the intro like as if we're doing a video. Okay, we're recording. G'day invaders, welcome to Since Spacies, and this is a look at the Sega Mega Drive, I was going to say Ultimate Collection, the Sega Mega Drive Mini. The console just came out today. Got my hot little hands on it, and here it is. So the box is really tiny. It's not square, which I thought was kind of interesting, but it's super cool, and I've unboxed it today. And yes, it doesn't come with 6-button controllers. I get that. So what I did is I went and bought one of them as well. So I actually am planning to get a Japanese Mega Drive eventually, but for now that's what I've got to use, and I will have 2 more 6-button controllers coming once I get my Japanese Mega Drive. Hopefully that will come soon. I've got to follow that up later on. But I'm not going to do an unboxing. Plenty of videos doing that online. And I'm not going to do a Let's Play or any of the games. Are you thinking, well, what the hell is he going to do? Well, I have set up last night a breakdown of all the Mega Drive games. And here we are. So this is the Mega Drive games on the Mega Drive Mini, and I'm going to rate them all. So, are we going to get ready for this? Okay. I haven't actually got a script for this. This is just raw. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to play the game that I'm rating and then flick over to it just to give you a bit of an idea. This video could go on for a bit, but I'm going to try and make this as an honest, 100% authentic breakdown of all these games and where they sit on the tier list. So, starting with, we'll flick over to the game itself. At the moment, it's showcasing Earthworm Jim. One cool thing that it can do is, better get some audio going. Oh, and we've got Aussie Gamers TV's just resubscribed. Thank you, man. For 2 months, that's pretty solid effort. One thing about the 6-button controller is that the mode button is actually a reset button, which you don't get with the controllers that come with it. And just 1 second. Oh, sorry, this is for the subscription. I've got to come up with something a little better than that. But no, thank you very much, matey. Oh, and I forgot to give you a welcome. Yeah, here we go.
Welcome to the stream. Aussie Gamers Experience.
There we go. How rude of me. So yeah, that's the 6-button controller that comes with it, and the mode button on here takes it back to the main menu. It acts as a reset button. So we are going to get started with the very first game, and this game sits at the top no matter what sort order you do. So I'm going to get this in alphabetical, and we will go with Alex Kidd first off. So where would we sit Alex Kidd from A to F, or S to F? So I'm going to go back to the tier list. I don't think S is a good representation of a ultimate game for the Sega Mega Drive. So I reckon we should get rid of that and bring this little guy over and put him right there. There we go. So that's the cream of the crop. And F for fail. We'll get rid of that. And I'm going to put this guy in there as a representation of the really crap games that just have no business being on this list. All right, so Alex Kidd. Everyone bags out on this game, and I kind of like it. So I'm going to be a little more generous to it than what most people would be. I have to put this in C because I liked it. It was bringing something over to the Mega Drive from the Master System. Yes, it failed. It could have been better, but it was not a bad effort, and it's not Alex D. Kidd. Okay, Lucas, just stop that. Stop that right now. Not Alex D. Kidd. All right. So we got our first game up there. It's rating as a C for good old Alex D. Kidd. Who started that? Seriously. So that's Alex Kidd, what it looks like on the Mega Drive, and I understand the hate that it gets because it does look kind of 8-bitish, but it was introducing new things at the time. You got to remember, when this game came out, we were not used to seeing parallax scrolling, 2 levels of scrolling in a video game. So that was kind of like a really wow moment. a little trivia bit of information is that on my copy of this game when I first had it, it had, when you lost in Paper Scissors Rock, you became naked on the screen and you had to walk off the screen embarrassed and shamed. that got censored out in the West version. So, all right, so that's enough of Alex Kidd. I'm giving that a C. So we got our first benchmark. Moving right along, we are now looking at Alicia Dragoon. Now, this is a game not many people would really know much about. I just got to reset back to the menu. Smooth as, isn't it? So the next game is Alicia Dragoon. Game Arts brings you an action shooter feature Alicia, a girl who controls lightning, wield order aiming lightning, and the power of 4 summons to fight off attacks from all sides and blaze your path to the Sky Temple. Right, cool story, guys. A lot of people don't know about this game, but I was actually given this game for free when working at Sega. It's one of the very few games that was given to me. I didn't really scam much when I was working there. I like this game. I don't really love it, but I think it's a decent, solid game. And I think it's another B. I was going to say B. I think it's another C. I'm waiting for it to get to the actual gameplay so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. In the chat, Naked Kids, yeah, probably right to censor that one. Is this part of the Panzer Dragoon series? No, it's not. I'm a C. Who are you to call me a C? You're a D. Makona Associates. Alright, so you got different characters that come and walk along behind you. You can swap them over for different abilities. Kind of like Pokemon before Pokemon, in a way, but not anywhere near as cool as what Pokemon did. I just thought it was trying something different, and it was actually kind of cool. And it had roleplay type elements where you got power-ups and you got to level up your abilities. So, I think it's a solid C. We've got another C. I hope we're not going to have a whole stack of C's, but that game sits right there in the C list. Now the next one, the game that a lot of people love to hate. I've just got to hit the Mega Drive reset button. What if you press it again? Does it? No, it actually goes back to the game. Okay. Back. Sorry, go back to the gameplay so you can see what I'm looking at here. Waiting. All right. Why is Altered Beast? Oh, I've got it in a different order. There we go. Okay. So, Altered Beast saved a kidnapped goddess Athena in this beat-em-up action game. I would like if they gave you more details on each game. Actually, that's a downer on this. So, where would you guys think? This just in, Spacies is a massive fence sitter. Alright, I'm not going to sit on the fence with this one. Altered Beast was cool when it first came out, simply because it was like, oh my god, this is so cool. Like, oh my god, this is an arcade game on your Mega Drive. How cool is that? But it didn't age well, did it? And I don't think this is an E. But it's so bordering close to being an E. It's got to be a D. It's not a bad game, it's just you wouldn't want to play it too often. And a lot of people have a lot of sentimental memories of this one. So, it goes in D, and I'm locking that in. Mate, this is a C for sure. How's it a C? I do not agree. It's a D. It doesn't age well. You play this once, you won't want to play this again. There wasn't enough variety. It's too slow and tedious. And I think that it had potential, but it just didn't do enough. And it was the bare minimum. I think it was like a 2 meg game. So very, very small game in memory as well. So there's that. Got to move along, because we've got a lot of games to get through. So what's next? I think the next one's going to be right up there. It's going to be one of our first big games. Got to get back to the menu. Wish it was a quicker, easier way to do that. All right, Castle of Illusion. Mate, I'm so surprised that this made it to the actual console. This is such a good game. But that's not the question. We know it's a good game. Where does it sit on our list of A through to fail? Does this rate... Castle of Illusion is an A game. I still play it to this day. But is it a super hot game? Is my big question. There's going to be a lot of editing in this. Okay, Mickey Mouse for me. I didn't own the original. I still don't. I've got the Master System version, funnily enough, but I'm trying to hunt down a copy of the Mega Drive original. And that's another topic in itself. Would I bother buying the original now that I've got this? Well, the answer is yes, because I like having the original content. But this game did so many things back in that time that was unique to this game, and it never been done before. Such as this level. It will show you right now. It flipped the whole stage, similar to Castlevania. Except you didn't have to complete the whole game to make it do it. I'm hoping it's going to show this effect off. Maybe they didn't want to show it off in the demo. So you got the bum slam, which is a bit of a Mario rip-off in some sense. No, it's not going to show it. So there's a certain box that you can bounce on, and then it flips the whole stage upside down and kills everything on the screen instantly. Really cool effect, and... yeah, I have to agree. It is an A. So we're going to whack Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusion in an A spot. Just misses out. It was a solid title at the time when it was released, but just misses out on being in the uber best of all time category. So I'm hoping I'm not losing too many people on that one. Now the next one I don't have much experience on. I'm gonna switch back over. Like, come on. Oh, I'll get this right one day. There we go. So the next game in the list is Castlevania, which I've played a little bit, but I'm not a Castlevania gamer, and a lot of people, oh, they rave on about this. So this is my first tough one to rate. It looks awesome. I'll have to give you that. I just don't know how it plays. But I gotta rate it. I can't. That's my goal here today. I gotta rate everything today. Now, some of these games okay. Aussie Gamers TV saying that he'd put it in B or C. I'm leaning towards A, but it could be a B. B's still good, by the way. Don't think that B plus. New generation. I don't know. I'm still deciding on this one. If you got a problem, you must whip it. The Castlevania thing to me was more of a Nintendo sort of property. There was some cool effects though. There was some cool things going on in the background, I must admit. S, put it at the top. Well, if this was your list, Tommy, that would be happening. I'm going to put this in the A group. Pending. Because I might play it and think it's really crap. Or I might play it and think, oh yeah, it's going to be awesome. But from what I know about this game and from what I've seen of it, it is going in A. No fence sitting. Now the next one. This one's going to upset a few people. Switch back over. Okay. So the next one is columns. We used to joke that because we had loads of these copies of this game lying around at the hotline. And we used to joke that if you had a whole box of this and left them outside, no one would steal them. But it's a good game, but it's just not, you know, it's just columns. It's just a Tetris wannabe. So my grief with columns is there's no combos. Not many anyway, not like Puyo Puyo. I'm going to have to put this in D. It goes right along, you know, switch over. It goes right alongside its mate there, Altered Beast, which was another game that was being given out for free back in the day. And yeah, it's just meh, a meh title, meh. Columns in B, I enjoy it and I love the soundtrack. Well, good for you, Tommy, but nah. I'm not going to put it in B. I can't. I can only play it for a bit. I would have loved to have seen a polished Columns sequel. I think Columns is an example of a great concept, but it needs more polish. And it came out at a time when games were just put out as a concept and put out to the market, and that was good enough. But now in 2019, you need to do a little more than that. I would like to see more power-ups and more options with Columns 2019 or whatever they're going to come out with later. All right, we're going to move along. So Goffiosis is saying, sorry guys, we have popped a flat. We'll be back soon, hopefully. Oh, okay. Good luck with that. Popped a flat. What, we're talking cars? So the next game on our list, this is going to take a while. Comic Zone. Oh god, this is so hard to rate. I know it gets a lot of love. And I know a lot of people rave on about this. And it's a Sega, it's an STI game. You can tell that they put a lot of effort into it. But it's just too hard. It is just too hard. And it doesn't allow you to get into the game. They really did not take into consideration the gameplay experience. They just made it rock hard and very hard to understand for someone that comes along and plays this for the first time. Plus, I don't like the music. It's okay, but it's got that effect going on, which just wasn't good enough. Doesn't that look like the guy from Mythbusters, by the way? Great concept. Like, it is such an awesome concept, and I would like to see a sequel to this. I think a sequel to Comic Zone done well and made a little bit easier and give you more lives or continues or something would work really well. In fact, this game has got loads of potential for a sequel. I don't understand why it's not buried in any sort of IP. It's a property that Sega own outright. They should just release this as a sequel. Well, release a new sequel. I don't understand. I don't understand Sega sometimes. Multiple routes. You could learn to the way of the level. GG scrub. Right, okay. Get good scrub. Comic Zone in C also. Great game, but super hard. Yep. All right, I've made up my mind. It's going in C. And that's not C for meh. It's just C because it had potential, but it just didn't execute very well. All right, I hope we got enough room in C. All right, let's move on. Next game. Otherwise we'll be here all bloody night. What have we got next? Now this one, well, actually, before we get to that game, I have got... okay. I'm going to do a little bit of skipping ahead here. And Pro Protector, because it's coming up as Contra on my list. So Contra, I reviewed Pro Protector for Megazone for the Super Nintendo version. And it's just super hard. That game is just rock hard. I had a neighbor playing it on the Super Nintendo Classic or Mini, and he was not having fun at all. And I could totally get where he's coming from. Oops, sorry, I'll switch over to the gameplay. So this is Pro Protector, otherwise known as Contra. And if it would hurry up and play the game. So if you like Gunstar Heroes, this is like a majorly hard version of that. And the story goes is that they made this to try and compete with Gunstar Heroes, because Gunstar Heroes was made by ex-Konami staff. And Konami were like, we don't need you anymore, we can do special effects too. So they made this to try and just show off the fact that they're quite capable of doing some cool things on their own. Which is so weird, isn't it? Like, you don't hear about that kind of thing anymore, where staff members leave and so the companies make games just to spite the people that left, which is essentially what this is. I don't know this game, it looks awesome is what Aussie Gamers TV is saying. Yeah, Contra, hard co-ops, hard being true. So again, we come to the problem of having to put it in C. Simply because it's an awesome game, but held back given the difficulty of it. It's not enjoyable. There's no point in having... Like, it does look awesome. That does look good. And this is just a throwback to the Super Nintendo version. Yeah, pretty cool effects. I'm going with C on this one. So, we're going to throw that over into the C bracket. We're running out of room in C. And the next one, I don't know anything about. Because the reason why I don't know anything about it is because I had no way of knowing what this game plays like, because it was never released until now. So this is the bonus game, Darius. And I've played Darius 2. I had Darius 2 on the Mega Drive. So I don't understand why they needed to put Darius 1 on there. I'm leaning towards this being a B, because this looks like another game that's hard though. So again, I don't know. I know majority of these games in this package, but Darius is one of the few that I do not know. But based on my experience with Darius 2, I love Darius 2. It was such an addictive shooter, but very hard. But it was still playable and addictive despite the difficulty. So I'm going to whack that in B, because I think it's a great addition to the fact that this came out sort of unannounced. Was a nice little surprise. So it's going in B. We got our first B game. And we're going to move on, because we've got a lot of games to get through. The only downer to this is that the backgrounds look a little bland. They could have done more with the backgrounds. Hang on, I'll go back. Yeah, that could almost throw it down to C, but no, I'm gonna keep it in B for now because it is still a playable game. Going to move along. So the next game we're looking at is Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Now, I had an awesome time playing this. My introduction to this game was on the Game Gear, Puyo Puyo, which, if you change the settings to the Japanese language, this plays as Puyo Puyo, not as Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, which is kind of cool. But it's essentially the same game. And a little cool thing, if you press if you press the buttons, it triggers the little beans. I'm gonna reset it. I have to lean towards this being an A, simply on personal experience, and it's one of my favorite drop down, puzzle games, if you want to call it that, of all time. In fact, I actually prefer this over Tetris, personally. I know that's not a very popular opinion. I don't care about popular opinions. I'm waiting for it to show the game, damn it. Game Boy Bryant saying he would also give it an A himself. Cool. And I do like I don't like that version of Robotnik, but I just think that they did such a good job of paying attention to detail to that version of the Sonic universe. I think it deserves a pass. Even though I, again, don't like that version of Robotnik. And it also introduced a whole heap of new characters that if you weren't following the cartoons, you could get into for the first time. And from memory, actually no, doesn't have Sally in it. Sonic Spinball has Sally in it. It's the only game that's got Sally. So, yeah, I'm not going to mess around anymore. That's going in A. Up you go. What do you think? You guys happy with it so far? Alright, let's get on with it. So, the next game is Dynamite Heady. Is it Heady or Heady? Oh, I do have a little minor complaint about the Mega Drive Mini. It doesn't have rubber feet. So it kind of just slides all over the place. That is not a major issue, but it is a problem that I think could have been easily resolved with 4 little rubber feet. I think the original Mega Drive has rubber feet on it. Anyway, so Dynamite Heady. Heady. It's Heady with double D for some reason. Uncle Chant is in the chat. He'd like to point out how Brian has totally missed the fact that I've blessed this stream with my presence. Well, I think I've just resolved that, haven't I? I don't have a welcome thing for you. I only have that for subscribers. But what can I do for you? Everyone introducing Uncle Chant. I haven't really been paying attention to the stream because I'm recording this for my YouTube channel. So let's get back into this. Dynamite Heady. Awesome game by Treasure. Is it deserving of an A? No, I don't think so. Although people will disagree with me on this. I think it's a solid B. I really do think that this is a solid B. Nothing to do with YouTube channel, you're just rude. Fair enough, Lucas. I do like what they've done with this game and giving you little multiple abilities with the different heads you can get onto the character. It's a B. It's a decent game, just shy of an A. In my books. Again, this is all me. This is all just my rankings. So heading over to my little tier list. That's no. You go there. This, thank you, Lucas. Yes, I spent quite a bit of time getting this set up last night. Okay, so we're going to move over now to the gameplay again. The next game, I think this is straight up. I don't even have to spend much time with this, but I'm going to show you what game this is. Earthworm Jim. Groovy. Love it. I had so much fun with this when it first came out. I was working in Hyper Magazine. Well, not working now. I was contributing. And I happened to be in the Hyper Magazine at the time to submit my articles. And this game had everyone wrapped around the screen just watching the gameplay. One of the classics on the Mega Drive. The fact that it's on the Mega Drive Mini is just nothing short of a miracle. And it's just iconic. It's 90s. It's just everything about this gaming era that sums up what the attitude of this era was all about. This gets a solid S. So we got our first S-rated game. And so our first solid S-rated game, or Sonic-rated game, is Earthworm Jim. And I don't know, does this version play better than a Super Nintendo version? They're both very tight, very, very close to each other. But no, just an awesome addition to this, an awesome addition to the console. And I'm just only a little bit disappointed they couldn't find a way to get the second game on there as well. There is a lot of that with this console. Oh, great, but why couldn't they do this? So there is a little bit of that going on, but no, it's good that they at least represented this game with at least the first one. Tommy's written in, the guy who did the voice for Psycho was also Robotnik in the Jim cartoon. Oh, okay. Dan Castellaneta. The cartoon series Jim has the voice actor of Homer Simpson. Okay, alright, we're getting sidetracked. Now, we're going from one extreme to the other, I think. So I'm going to hit enough of Earthworm Jim. But yeah, solid. We got our first pick of the bunch, cream de crop title. But now we move on to Echo. Oh, Echo. I have a love-hate relationship with this game. I love what they were trying to do. It was very original for the time. And even though this is my list, if it was up to me, I'd just put it in the Sonic Falling category. But I'm trying to be realistic here. Echo the goddamn what the hell do I do now, Dolphin. 10 out of 10 game. Most demos in games have gameplay by people who aren't very good, isn't it weird? Yep, totally true. Echo, the ultimate gaming experience. Mate, you gotta give them 100% for creativity and originality. It was great at the time. I just didn't enjoy it personally, and it's a C. It's gonna fall into the C. It's dangerously close to going into D. I just don't like it. And Cameron's saying S. Nah. I didn't like it. Okay? I didn't like it. I figure it was good for some people, but me personally, nah. So that's that one. All right, move on. Screw Echo. Echo can go in a can of tuna for all I care. Moving right along. "24 megs of power." All right, well, they tried to do something different. Okay. Well, we got some more memory. Let's make some animations. I kind of like this. So, for those who don't know, Eternal Champions is a 24 meg game. It uses the 6-button controller. It was coming out at a time when Street Fighter 2 was just dominating the market. So they figured, oh, well, we got to have a fighter because that's really good at the moment. That's a big thing, right? The only thing is that these are all original characters just for this game. I actually give it points for that because I'm tired of we live in an era now where everything's got to be licensed, you know, content, and I think it's killing creativity. So the fact that a game like this came out in this era is a sign of what kind of time this came out in. Like if someone proposed a multi-fighter game with bland generic characters or characters that they come out with now, it won't get funded. Do these people want to sell their game or not? Now look, how is this selling the game? Just text. I'll give it a quick playthrough. I haven't actually showed off any games so far. So you get your usual. Where's the oh crap, I hit the wrong button? Oh, it's Geordie from Star Trek versus Cher. It didn't age well. Now there was a Mega CD version of this as well, and it used up the CD. Look, I would love to put this in B. I just don't know if it ages well. I would have preferred Turtles, Tournament Fighters. Speaking of licensed games. I'm getting my ass handed to me. I know one move, that's it. Stop blocking, you cow. Really? Alright, well that sucks. I reckon if you played this a bit, you'd get into it. I just don't have the patience right now. It's a C. The Sega CD version of this was extremely violent. Yes, they had fatalities. Gurn has come into the chat. How you doing there, Gurn, by the way? Glad to have you on board. Excuse me for a sec while I sort something out here. Yeah, I'm going to go back into the tier and we're going to whack that in C. It could have been a D. No, a B. I don't know. You could put that one anywhere. You'd be right. It's just a neither here or there title, isn't it? So yeah, C for that one. Probably lurks in the D territory. Only because there's so many great games on the Mega Drive that could have made it, and this has taken up a spot. And that's kind of what I'm looking at this game thinking, yeah, they really probably could have gone with something else. All right, next one though. We're going to pick up the pace a little bit here. So the next one is Ghouls and Ghosts. Where do you guys stand on Ghouls and Ghosts? Me personally, I freaking love the game. You have to respect this game. And oh my god, it is such a classic. And a lot of people can't stand this because they're not good. And I get that. But man, the game is so good. One of the first Mega Drive games too. This is like one of the earliest games, and Sega themselves did this, not Capcom. Yep, no, that's going straight in the pool room. That's going right up to the top. We have got ourselves another... Let me get to the sound effects. Oh, come on. Another A or S ranked game right at the top. Ghouls and Ghosts. I don't think too many people would argue with that. And if you do argue with that, you're wrong. Ghouls and Ghosts is an A. No. It's a mwah, top. No. It's the top. That's where it stands. Okie dokie. Come on, look at those effects. When it came out, nothing like that was out at the time. And it was an original game. That's the other thing that people forget. Well, it wasn't original. It was actually a port, sorry, of the arcade game. But the fact that they had the audacity to get that game on the Mega Drive, huge accomplishment at the time. And yeah, there was this stinking level. Alright, moving along. The next game is Golden Axe. Golden Axe. Played the heck out of this. The Game Boy Bryant says, this along with Sonic 2 were my first Genesis games I ever played. Golden Axe is definitely an S, so it's goddamn good. Tommy's in with it. He's coming in all swinging. My only thing that makes me just go straight away putting into S is it too short? That's my only hesitant on putting it in S. Is it too short? It sold many consoles, this game though. So this was one of the first games I bought, by the way, for the Mega Drive. I had the Japanese version until some schmuck stole my copy. So I'm still trying to track down a Japanese copy of the Mega Drive version of Golden Axe. Love the artwork. The color instruction manual was just like, I spent ages looking at that. I have to put this in S. Again, I am doing it with slight hesitation only because the game is so short, but it was just such a hoot to play with two players. Yeah, I think it's got to go in S. So we have got ourselves another S game going right up there in the pool room. Wow, it's turning out to be an interesting list so far, isn't it? We're still not even halfway, so let's move along. So, yeah, it's iconic. It is such a good game. But moving out of that now, the next game, oh god, it gets better. This is such a good compilation. Gunstar Heroes. And I've got the original of this, and I had to buy a converter to play it. Stupid grey importing. You had to go to grey importing to get games in, region lockouts, and all that nonsense. Just for out of curiosity, I wonder if anyone here watching at the moment has actually played this. One of my favorite games of all time is about 20 minutes long. Oh, we're talking about Golden Axe. Okay. But Gunstar Heroes is certainly not a 20-minute job. It is such a hard game. And this came out at a time when there was no save states. So that made that kind of frustrating. But now we can save, we can simply save the game and continue on our merry way. So Treasure was such a good game company. They really pushed this console. They made it do things that you never thought it could do. So, Gunstar Heroes. I think we're going to get ourselves another addition to the pool room, kiddies. It's going right up the top. So we got ourselves another S-rated game. These are the cream of the crop. Gunstar Heroes joins Golden Axe, Ghouls and Ghosts, and Earthworm Jim. So, gotta move along. So many games to get through. Such a great game. I spent ages on that. Still, I never got to finish it. It was rock hard. But now that I've got save points, I might give it another shot. Alright. We're going to the other end of the gene pool though now. Kid Chameleon. Yeah. Again, great concept. Poorly executed, I think. The reason why I say poorly executed is no save states. This game needed save states. This game also needed to be a little bit tighter with the controls. So the gist of the story is that the local arcade's gone crazy. This kid is the best video game player in the neighborhood, and he's the only one that's got some sort of a chance to save the people that are trapped in this hologram arcade machine. It was the 90s. They did weird things with the plots. I like this game. I like it more that I've got save states, I guess. And yeah, I just think that it's taking up a slot in this list of games on this Sega Mega Drive Mini that it could have gone to a better game. So I'm going to have to rank it as a C. So it's going over into C, I'm afraid. I just don't get enthusiastic about that one. It's not a bad game. It just had potential. It's another Echo. Tommy's saying that he owns a copy of Gunstar Heroes on cartridge. I have too, but I've got it's the Genesis version that I've got. All right, another one. Now this one, I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with me on this one, but as they say in the classics, tough titties. Because I think that this is not a hidden gem, a hidden gem. This is a lost gem. This is a game that was just raved on about at the time. Landstalker. Like, in that era, all the magazines were showing screenshots of this from Japan. And I didn't know what they were saying, but I didn't care because those screenshots just looked awesome. This game's not going to do anything, so I'm going to have to play a little bit of it. So I was playing another game, Dark Savior, on the Sega Saturn. And this is kind of like a prequel, not really a sequel or anything like that. It's a spiritual successor to this game. My only gripe is it's hard to judge the 3D elements when you... So look at it, how would you know you got to jump to there? That was the only thing that killed this game. It was hard to tell the 3D aspect. You did get used to it, but man, it was difficult. But it was so ambitious for when it came out. I'm going to have to give this a B. I would love to have given it an A, except for the fact that the platforming on this game now is just too hard. And I think most new gamers that come along to this will struggle. But the storyline's cool. I would have loved to have seen more in this IP. More games come out, more sequels. It just didn't happen. And I just like the sense of humor that this game's got as well. It even features a brothel, which they took out of the Western version. And they changed it for you getting milk or something. So, that goes into B. It's a solid game. Just something holding it back from being an A. So, we're going to move along now. Back over to the games. Sorry, I hope you guys are hanging in there with me. By the way, loving this controller. Controller is so damn good. And that's the controls that come with it. That in itself is a good controller. I'm just so addicted. And this is my legit... That's my old school 6-button controller. And this is the new one for the Mega Drive Mini. Very, very similar. Except this one has got less dirt on it. And this is not from Sega. This is from Retrobit. They just did such a good job of replicating it, except you've got that one button extra on it on the front. And, oh yeah, also it's got 2 extra buttons on the top there for left and right. Move along. So, I honestly don't know much about this one. Another treasure game. So you got to give it a looking just because of that. Does anyone know anything about... Oh, Snoogs is in. How you doing there, Snooks? Snoogs. Getting milk. So Light Crusader on the Mega Drive kind of came out too late in the Mega Drive's life cycle for me to be paying attention to it, because I was moving on to Mega CD and concentrating on Mega CD in that era. And I was really keen to see where Sega were going to go next. Plus the PlayStation was just around the corner. Are we going to get any gameplay footage, or is it just going to... No, it's going to be another one of these. Trying to see if I can skip through to get to the game itself. Unskippable cutscenes. Kind of ambitious from what I've been told. Again, the fact that it's come from Treasure is a game. It means that it's a game that you really should pay attention to and check out. I don't like that art style, but it is ambitious for the Mega Drive, so I'll give it that. Hard to play these games in 2019. I totally understand that. I'm a little more forgiving for that kind of aspect of retro gaming than some people are. Good. The rum has warmed me up. Wasn't that cold today? Yesterday was. It had been a while since I was last in Green Row, but I was really looking forward to returning. Alright. Can we skip this? No? I don't know how to rate this one. Are we going to throw it in the C bracket? Or B because it's an RPG? I don't think it deserves to be in the D category. I'm leaning towards D when I look at it. And I hate the fact you can't skip anything. I'm pressing buttons, nothing happening. Listen, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to throw this one into the C bracket and move along, because otherwise we're going to be here all night. And I just think it's like C, plausible, maybe a B if given a chance. We'll move along. I don't know enough about it to really talk much about that one. So another game that kind of fits in the category of I don't know a lot about. I'm not a big Mega Man fan, but I respect the fact that so many people love this series. This is basically the NES versions dressed up and put onto the Mega Drive. For that, that's a solid effort. Um, previously unreleased, previously unreleased in America, in physical form. So yeah, you got Mega Man 1, 2, and 3. Mega Man 2 is probably the one to go and check out. I hate number 1. I'm not a fan. It's weird hearing this track on a Mega Drive. I'm in talks to buy a real copy of Wily Wars. Really interested in it. Yeah, I'm interested in it. I'm willing to give it a chance. Nah, it doesn't sound the same, hey? Like, I like it, but the NES version, it just hits that sweet spot, and this misses it. But it looks cool. I like the animation. Bubble Man. Coming to a school near you. Alright, jump, shoot. Ooh, bit of lag going on just there for a second. Oh, you can just go. Controls are a little funny. But I think that's just the game because I struggled on this when I played it on Xbox. Oh, and that's me out. I think you have to put this in B, wouldn't you? Yeah. I think it's overly hard for the sake of being overly hard, but it's a solid. It's great to see that this is on there. I have to put this in B simply because of the respect that it's got in the gaming community, and I just need to get good, I think. But yeah, it's a bit of a punish to play if you're not used to the series. But I think we'll move right along. But it's great to see that that game made it to the Mega Drive list, the Mega Drive Mini list. Next one we've got is Wonder Boy Monster World 4. Previously not released physically, it came out on digital format only, translated, so it was only released in Japan in Japanese. And I love Wonder Boy in Monster World, and this has got all the aspects of those games except now more stuff. I'm going to call it. You guys are not going to agree. Again, I don't care. I'm putting this in the S bracket. It is so good. You guys have got to get onto this. For me, I just enjoy this type of gameplay, and you're building up your character. You're getting more hearts to try and get into. It's kind of like Metrovania style gameplay mechanics, and it's a game that not many people have had the honor of playing, and it's worthy on anyone's list of games to play. Oh, it's even got a Star Wars crawl. Fancy that. Going in the S bracket. This is my list. I do what I want. So that's another one that's added into the S bracket. S bracket is looking very good. Now, back to the list. Sorry, I got to get out of this. There we go. The next. Oh man, I'm gonna run out of room. Seriously, this is good. I went to the effort of buying this on physical Genesis version just the other day. Not the other day, last year. And I bought a freaking Mega Drive or Genesis boxed. Actually, I'm getting my stories mixed up. That was Sonic and Knuckles. Disregard that. Sorry, I'm getting my stories mixed up. No, I did buy this though. I've got it physical back there. But I went out of my way. I got it at a reasonable price too. I was so surprised to get this for $50 boxed. When I've seen it previously go for up to $200. Huge game. Great way for this series to end. But Sega needs to come up with a 6. I really hope that 6 is this. No, this is 4. I really hope that they come up with a sequel 5. Because Phantasy Star 3 was such a disappointment, and I'm glad that's not on this list. That game can go take a dump. So I don't know if anyone here has played this, but there's no. I don't even question this. This is going straight into the pool room, right at the top there. So we've got ourselves another another S-rank game. All right, I don't have to crap on about that one much longer. What have we got in the comments going? I would rather play Wonder Boy and Monster World. You can play both, because they're both on here. Well, we've done Pro Protector, so we can skip that one. We're moving on to Road Rash 2. An EA game, no doubt. Wow. How the heck did that get on here? And a good EA game. Now, cool story. I played this very game. Actually, was it this one or one? No, it would have been one. So we had the Sega National Championships in 1992. It was being played in Darling Harbour, Sydney. And they had the music going throughout the whole centre. Up super loud. And I got to play this on the fairly big screen for the time. In front of a crowd. It was Road Rash 1 that I was playing, but which is not much different to this. This is just Road Rash 1 with more weapons and more courses. I personally love the music. I've heard people complain about the music. I'm a fan of it. I love Rob Hubbard. He came from the Commodore 64 era, moved over to with EA to do some Mega Drive titles. And I used to spend hours on this. So this goes straight into the S group. This S group's getting crowded. So we got another S group game. It goes right up to the top. I'm glad that EA at least contributed one game. Would have been nice of them to do more, but you know, we'll take Road Rash 2 into the S group. It's just a shame that EA didn't produce some of the or offer some of the Jungle Strike and Desert Strike games. That would have been nice to be in this list. So we'll move over now to back to the menu. We're almost there, guys. It's been a long long stream so far. We've got Shining Force now. Shining Force 2 is the one that everyone raves on about it. But they decided to put Shining Force on for some reason. It would have been nice if they had to put... This is my only gripe with the Mega Drive Mini. Why did they have to hold back on so many of these games? Like, it wouldn't have cost them anything to put Shining Force 1 and 2. Like these games take up such little memory. I mean, all they have to do is come up with a JPEG for the cover and a bit of a blurb and throw it on there. I can't understand why they couldn't put Shining Force 1 and 2. So if someone enjoyed Shining Force 1 and they did know about Shining Force 2, they would have gone on to play Shining Force 2 and thought, wow, this is amazing. because it was an amazing game, and so many people do rate this as their favorite game of all time. Shining Force 2, that is. But Shining Force 1 is a nice introduction to that style of gameplay. So for those who don't know, it is a turn-based strategy game similar to, oh god, what was that game called? Advanced Wars on 3DS. Similar style to that. And unfortunately, Nintendo kind of took the reins and did a good job with Fire Emblem. So this is very much in the same vein as Fire Emblem. If this was Shining Force 2, it would have been up the top. It would have been shoved in the S group, but it's not. It's just shy of it. So we got an A game. It goes into A, which is, you know, again, it's a solid game. It's just not quite S rank. Superb rank. But still a great game, and I think that anyone that comes along and plays it, even if you're not a fan of that style of gameplay, turn-based, you'll get something out of it. We'll move along. And Tommy's chimed in saying Shining Force is an A, one of my favorite RPGs. Yeah, I totally agree. Shinobi free. Come on, boys and girls. Oh, I like this game, but all right, this is a controversial opinion that I've got. I prefer the look and the feel of Revenge of Shinobi more than this, but I know that so many people love this particular game because it brought so many more in the way of more features in the way of move sets, wall jumping, and that sort of thing. I just didn't when it. Do you know that expression that when Bonzi jumped the shark? So when a show's running out of ideas, it jumps the shark. I kind of got the feeling that this game jumped the shark a little bit when they introduced surfing, like surfing ninjas. Come on, it's not realistic, but come on. They're all riding on horseback stuff was cool, but when he was on a surfboard, I'm like, oh, okay, really? But so many people think it's cool. Finally back after dealing with a flat tire. Did I miss much? Well, I'll let you decide. That's what we've got so far. Got a lot in the S bracket. I thought there wouldn't be as many as that, but we've got 7 games in the S bracket, and we've got a few A's and B's, a lot of C's. No E and no fail at this point. But we're yet to get through them. All right, so we're discussing Shinobi Free. It is a great game. There's no getting away from that. It is awesome. My criticism of the game is not from gameplay point of view, but just for the aesthetics and the storyline. I think they kind of broke away too much from Revenge of Shinobi, but it doesn't stop. Yeah, and the music kind of went off track as well. Okay, Game Boy Bryant's asked a very good question. Why isn't Revenge of Shinobi on here? And I can tell you that straight away. They didn't want to bother with the copyright that was in on that game. Having to deal with Spider-Man, Godzilla, Batman, Rambo, Terminator. Can't think of any other IPs that they ripped off in that game. And oh yeah, and also the guy that features on the title screen, they had to change his face because he's a famous Japanese actor, so they had to change that as well. I gotta put it in A. Don't kill me. I'm almost tempted to put it in B, but it's just so liked, and I guess I could get into this game if I gave it more of a chance. I'm putting this in A. I think it's deserving of an A slot. It was hard for me to do that, but I know that if I put it in B, like I don't pander to popular opinion, but at the same time, I'm not a total bastard. Oh, come on. Can you just go in your home. Go in your home. Thank you. God. All right. The next one, I think, is a no-brainer. The next one, Sonic the Hedgehog. Have you heard of it? Sega! That was the first time that I ever got to hear the Sega chant. That was also the first time that I found out that Australians were pronouncing Sega wrong. And it's running at the 60 megahertz speed. And it looks beautiful, except I have just noticed it doesn't multi-parallax the clouds. Or was that Sonic 2 that did change that up? Anyway, I'm nitpicking. This is such an awesome game. And you know what? It's one of these games where I've played it so much and I still don't get sick of it. I don't get sick of the music. I don't get sick of the character. It's an iconic game it's such an important game in Sega's history. And I feel so privileged to have been part of Sega's history at that very moment and got to see this game when it was just fresh coming out. To see this game and play this game before release is an honor I'll take with me to the grave. And it looks so good on this. Like, seeing this in HD, I've played HD versions of this in the past on compilations. This looks terrific. It really does look awesome. Nah, it's going straight to the top. Like, as if that was going to go anywhere else, boys and girls. Come on. Yeah? So it goes straight to the top. So we're now got our 8th entry to the top. And guess what's next? You know what's coming up. Alright. I mean, if we just played Sonic 1, what do you reckon's coming up after Sonic 1? That's right, Sonic 2. Boom, boom, we got another S game. I think you guys already knew that. Sonic 2 is an S. What's this? Just hurts, mate. Just hurts. Okay. The amount of trickery and R&D that had to go into making this split level, and just they really did try to push and milk the Mega Drive in ways that no one else had done prior. And I get that a lot of people don't like the 2-player squashed up thing, but you got to remember that when this came out, having 2 players have their own little real estate on the screen and to play competitively against each other, it meant that little baby brother didn't just get thrown a controller and played Tails all the time. Well, you could do that as well, but you could play competitively against each other for the first time in a Sonic game. That was big. And this is one of my most iconic favorite levels of all time. The music, the look of it. I just remember seeing this on the preview version that we got given to us at Sega. Seeing this for the first time, it was just like, holy crap, they didn't screw this up. They've really nailed it. And it was a great feeling of relief when we got to see Sonic 2, to know that they didn't fail us when they developed this game. I can crap on all night about this one, but yeah, it's going, guess where? Going straight to the pool room, boys and girls. Right next to its buddy there, Sonic 1. As if that was going to go anywhere else, yeah? Alright, so we're going to move along now with more of these games, and we're getting to the tail end of this now. Now, Sonic Spinball. Oh, wow. What do you do with Sonic Spinball? First Sonic game to come out that made you go, eh, they didn't really do it right, did they? do like the game. And again, it's another case of great concept, but poorly executed. Just going through the comments. Game Boy Bryant, Sonic 2 is an S. Thank you very much. Tommy's got Sonic 2. Yeah, my video game love of my life. Definitely an S. Aussie Gamers TV's been anal. You said it runs at 60 megahertz. Alright, I made a mistake. Sorry, it doesn't run at full speed. Is that better? Lucas! And Gurns has written in that 2-player mode and bonus level, just wow. Yeah, they really... I don't know where they pulled that out of to get that kind of effect in a Mega Drive game, but I was reading some of the work that they had to put into Sonic 3 and for the bonus level in that. Just makes you wonder what they do. They're sitting down there going, oh, what are we going to do for this new one? But anyway, we're talking about Sonic Spinball here. A little did you know fact, or they went to show off this game to Sega of Japan. This is Sega of America. And Sega of Japan came along and looked at the game and they heard the title music. And they said, yeah, about the title music, you can't use it. And the guys are just looking at it and going, what do you mean we can't use it? That's Sonic. We're using Sonic's theme song. Can't we use that? Yeah, about that. We don't have the rights to that song. What do you mean you don't have the rights to it? You're Sega. Why can't you get the rights to it? Yeah, well, we kind of screwed that up, didn't we? That's a true fact. Sega of Japan do not own the rights to the music of Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know how you could screw something like that up. You would pay the guy that owns it, like, here's a lump of cash. Thank you very much. But no. So to this day, that music remains the sole property of the Dreams Tonights or something like that. The Japanese band that came up with that. Alright, so Sonic Spinball. Hard game. It's another Echo. So I think it sits right alongside its Echo friend there in the C category. Great concept. Just needed more polish. I reckon seriously though that this is a game that could... No, not D. My God, reading's hard. This is a game that, if given a little bit more research and development, could have been a solid A. Yeah, I wouldn't say S, but it could have been a B or an A, but it sits there in C because they just had to rush it, didn't they? All right. So that's Sonic Spinball. And all right. I have to take my rose-tinted goggles off for this one and look at it subjectively. I freaking love Space Harrier. You got no idea. I'm so gutted and hurt that there is not more games in this franchise, but it is a product of its time, of its era. I get that, and this was just like a really phoned in version. Looking at it now, I can see why people look at this and go, yeah, this is just a tech demo. But at the time, I spent freaking hours on this game. You got no idea. It was the first game I bought on the Mega Drive. This was my Sonic. This was my Altered Beast. This was my Columns. I have to be realistic though. I'm looking at B and C. And that's another thing. This game introduced speech in a way that no other game I had ever heard beforehand on a home console had done. This just really sounded crisp. My chat's not updating, so if I'm not responding to your chats, I do apologize. Righto, I am taking my anal smart ass self to bed now. Have a great stream, mate, and please be well. Smile, everyone. Good night. Okay, thank you. Oh, I didn't realize you can put people on the naughty list and give them a timeout. Oh, I'm gonna have to keep that in mind for future streams. I had no idea. Anyway, see you later, Lucas. I'm gonna continue on. I've got 12 more games or 13 more games to rate. Guys, where are we going to put this one? I reckon it's going to go in C. We'll move along. It's a C. I mean, it's a personal favorite of mine, only because of sentimental reasons, but I'm man enough to admit that that's not good enough to go any higher than a C. So, back over. Just turned into a long stream. That's all good. I'm having fun with this. Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Super Duper Edition Remix Extreme. So this was the game that came out for the first time on a Sega platform, and that people were calling up the hotline, Sega hotline, for ages asking, when's Street Fighter 2 coming out? And it took so long for this game to come out, but it was because of this game, it single-handedly was the reason why we got one of these, a 6-button controller. And this was the best part of this game coming over, was to see the development of a nice, refined controller as opposed to the 3-button controller that we were used to beforehand. So it was a big enough game to change hardware. Not many games do that. But the question is, how does it run on Mega Drive? We've got Gurns going, spamming the S button. S, 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 S. I don't have a drum roll. I don't have a drum roll. I'm trying to think of a way I can put suspense on this, and I can't. That's the only thing I've got for this. Alright. I'm not going to keep you in suspense much longer. We are going to throw Street Fighter 2 Special Edition over in the S spot. I do think it's deserving. It's not as good as the Super Nintendo version, but only because of my personal taste in the sound. But it plays the same. It has more features than the original Street Fighter 2 on Super Nintendo. And it just, I mean, it looks brilliant for a Mega Drive game. This console was not made for this kind of game. They managed to milk the Mega Drive and get it to do things that it was never designed to do. And for that, I think it deserves, and it's just playable as heck. And it's hard. So, it is another game in the S category. The few up there now, isn't there? Look at that. Few games sitting up there. Alright, we're going to move on to, oh god. I just saw what's coming up next. I really do wish there was an easier way to reset, but there we go. Alright. Streets of Rage 2. Where do you think this is gonna go? If you are sitting there wondering where I'm gonna rank this, then you are a potato. You have no idea. Of course this is gonna be an S rating. It's not even a question. This has to go in S. Besides Sonic the Hedgehog, no other game has music that gets me emotional. Oh god, I love listening to that. Cool story is that I got to play this in advance, ahead of time, in a beta, just level 1, but that was all it took. And hearing kids on a bus on the way to work to Sega, the kids behind me were reading through an EGM magazine, talking about how cool Streets of Rage 2 was going to be, and I pull out the ROM and show them. I can guarantee you guys are going to love it. I've played it. It is awesome. And they're like, what the hell is that? This, kids, is a beta, a ROM chip set, an EEPROM of an unfinished version of Streets of Rage 2. Is what I told them. And this game, I don't own this. That's the biggest crime here, because I've got it on so many compilations. I need to track down a copy of Streets of Rage 2 one day. It's just going up in price. Anyway, let's not mess around. This is going right up the top there. So we got ourselves another S-rank game. As if that was going to go anywhere else, though. Really? Yeah? Alright. Such a cool game. But the next one's a little iffy. We've got Strider. What do we do with Strider? So Strider, when it came out, was being pumped up and hyped by EGM magazine. And it was a major game release for Sega at that time. But I just don't know if... I just don't know if this game holds up in 2019. It was ambitious. It was something big and different at the time. Arcadey feeling compared to, you know, what other games were going at the time. You got to remember that Master System and NES were still big when this game got released. Look at those copyright years, 1990. So in 1990, this came out on a home console and people just lost their, you know, collective crap. I like the music. I do like what it was trying to achieve. I just don't know if it holds up in 2019. I gotta put this in a C. Could have been a B, but I do think it's a C. It really kills me to put it in C though, because how big the game was at the time. If 1990 version of Brian was to see what I'm doing now and putting this in a C ranking, I would be bashing myself up. 1990 Brian would be bashing 2019 Brian up. But it's more than just about, you know, the graphics. It's about the gameplay. The gameplay doesn't hold up. It's not smooth and fluid enough, I think. I probably am wrong though. Gurns is saying it's a B. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to peg it down a version. And we've got Tommy saying it's an A. Sorry, it's pegged. It's going down to C. I just don't think it holds up in 2019. Sorry, I'm going to have to show it a bit of tough love. Alright, so that's that. We're going to move along. A is confirmed. C is usually confirmed, but now they made A confirmed. That throws me off. Alright, this is a little weird. Super Fantasy Zone. What do we do with Fantasy Zone? You know what? I'm going to have a little break. When I come back, I'll tell you what I'll do with Fantasy Zone. I won't be long.
It's Since Spacies. It's Since Spacies. It's Since Spacies. It's Since Spacies. Since Spacies. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Okay, so we're trying to decide what to do with Opa Opa and Super Fantasy Zone. It's super playable. I love the arcade style graphics. I might even throw this into B. I'm very tempted. Because it's just such a cool game, an original game. And it does hold up well. The art style holds up in 2019. Guys, I'm going to have to throw this into B. I do think it's worthy of a B. I know a lot of you won't agree. I think it's worthy of a B spot. All right. No, there's no G spot. All right, moving along. We're just going to have to get through this list a little bit quicker. All right, so now we're up to... all right, I'm not doing Tetris. I think my order got... Oh, no, I am doing Tetris. Sorry. Okay. Now, I do have a Tetris story. And... my Tetris story is that I have played one of the infamous rare less than 20 copies or whatever they say, whatever the number is. I've actually played one of those copies for myself back in the day, and I have a copy that I made from that cartridge in my collection. Because I've got a disc machine. We ripped the game off onto disc. The game itself's only like really tiny. It's one of the smallest games you can get on the Mega Drive. And we had it looks terrible, I have to say. It came out at a time when I'd never played Tetris and I'd only heard about it. So I used to have a guy that I buy my games from who imported them from overseas. Anyone that was big into gaming at that time had a contact like this. And so he was a grey importer, and he had Tetris as one of the games that he was selling. I don't know how many copies he had. That is something that I will never get to find out, unfortunately, because I do believe that this guy has now moved on, because he was quite old at that time. He would have been at least 65, coming up to 70, and that was back in 1990. So if he's still kicking now, and he'd be coming up to 100, I think, almost. Kind of sad. He was such a nice guy, and he's kind of what helped me get my starting in Sega, because I was writing my own video game magazine at the time as a kid with nothing but a printer and no resources to anything else. He offered for to take my what would you call them, master copies, and print them out and make them into magazines that I could sell, and he'd give me 50 copies of the magazines that I wrote. And with that, I'd throw that to Sega, well, Aussiesoft here in Sydney, and they saw that and they hired me because of the amount of effort and work that I was putting into this magazine as a school kid, and with very limited resources available to him. But I would sometimes go to visit his house on a rare occasion, and I say rare occasion because it was a hike for me to get to his place. And I remember distinctively asking him, can I have a look at Tetris? I've heard so much about it. I want to play it. I've never played it on the Game Boy. I wasn't a Game Boy. I didn't like Nintendo at that time, but I knew that Tetris is a big thing. So I remember playing this, distinctively remember playing this on the Mega Drive. It was being sold for $85, and I've got a copy of the magazine that I'd sell had his price list on it, and it's got Tetris for 85 with the serial code for this game, or the game code. And it'd be just interesting to know how many copies of this he did import. I'd be really interested to know how many he did import, because all these rumors about, oh, this game is super rare, less than 3 copies, less than 10, that number keeps going up, but it doesn't take away the fact that this game is super rare. But it's not a good it's not a good version of the game. The music is, it has a I like the music, but I can understand why some people don't. You don't have the option to rotate in a certain direction. You only rotate, you have to rotate around. So there's a lot wrong with this game, but it was Tetris on a Mega Drive. And that was a big deal back then. Unfortunately for Sega, they had to retract all copies that they could from Japanese stores, but all the copies that left the country for importers like my friend, well, they wouldn't have been able to retract those, would they? Which is why I'm led to believe there are more copies of this game out there than people suggest there are. But all that aside, I always screw that up. Oh, there's no rewind feature, by the way, on the Mega Drive Mini. That's a bad thing. But where does this game sit? Actually, I'll reset the game. So where does this game sit on this list? It's an E. It's an E from me. It's very close to being a fail. The only thing that saves it is the fact that it's Tetris. It's just a bad version of Tetris. Kind of funny though that a game that has so much lore behind it and so many stories behind it, yeah, sits so low on the grades. So there you go. That's my Tetris story. We'll move on with this list. The next one is Story of 4. Which is a game I don't really know too much about. Now this one is Beyond Oasis in America, released as Story of 4 in Mega Drive regions. And it's done by Ancient, which is Yuzo Koshiro and his company. So you have to prick your ears up and pay attention to a game when he's hit the helm. And this is kind of the only Zelda experience on Mega Drive, which is why I'm inclined to put this in A. And this is coming up on my channel for a Let's Play video very soon. We got Tommy and Goff both saying that they love the Story of 4. I really, really like the Story of 4 a lot. Great game. It's an A. I don't understand why these games have attract screens that are so drab. What you're seeing here is the screen that should be selling this game when it was being played in the shop. And people are just going to walk past this screen. I don't understand why they went with this. But here we go. They really were trying to go for the Zelda element on this. You know, a big backstory huge overworld. Very ambitious for a Mega Drive title, for a non-Sega, like not a first-party company. And for those who are a little bit confused as to why this is not regarded as a Sega game, it's because it's kind of like the equivalent of well, it's got copyright there, Sega, but it's done by Ancient, which is kind of like I'm trying to think of the Nintendo company that it will come to me later. But anyway, we're going to talk about where this should sit on the list. Great graphics, like they are huge sprites for a Mega Drive title, very clean and great gameplay. And okay, maybe not as memorable as Zelda, but geez, they really tried. You got to give this an A. So for those who have not played it before, if you pick up a Mega Drive Mini, guess what you're doing? You're playing the story of 4 and giving it a try. I reckon you might be onto something that you've never, a hidden gem, a game that you've never played before, never realized what a classic it is. So, getting to the end of the list now. The next game on the list, Thunder Force 3. Oh man, what a great series Thunder Force was. Now, if this was Thunder Force 4, I'd whack this straight into the S group. And I'm tempted to put this in the S group, even though it's not Thunder Force 4. But it's not Musha released, is it? If this was Musha released, I'll be throwing this in the S group for sure. Nah, it's got to be an A. It's an A from me. I love the music though. The gameplay is good. Oh, it is so tempting to put this in S. 4 was amazing. That first level is insane. Music, that is. Thunder Force 3 is an S as well. Brilliant shoot 'em up. Yeah, hearing the music and watching the gameplay again is bringing back all the memories. And the game was being raved about at the time. Now I've got to put this in S. But guess what? There's a lot of games in that S category, so we've got ourselves another S game. I have to cave in and do it. The Thunder Force 3 joins the S group, and we're down to just 5 games to go. I didn't think it would take this long, but I'm having fun. I'm loving this. Toe Jam and L. Oh man, it's its own creature. It's its own thing. Toe Jam and L. Biggest regret on this game. The biggest regret is didn't have battery save. We've got it now with the Mega Drive Mini, but it held this game back at the time. I love this game. I've spent so much time on it, but it didn't have much in the way of variety. Every level was the same. As you stack up and go up levels, they all look the same. Plus, it was just, I don't know. I like the game. I love the characters, but I can't put this in S. And I can't put this in A. As much as it kills me to say that. So I'm going to have to put this in the B slot. And again, I love Toe Jam and L. Love spending so many hours on this back in the day. the special sound effects at the time were, you know, the sample sound effects were majorly impressive for the era. I can't put this in A though, because it's not without flaws. And the major flaw in this is the lack of variety when you go up levels. It's just all the same, but it's executed so well. So it goes into the B category, I'm sorry. And again, it kills me to do that, but I'm trying to be honest. So there we are. It's in good company though. Come on, look at those groups, those games in that tier. So we're going to move on. And I have picked up Toe Jam and Earl back in the groove on the Switch. I still haven't gotten around to playing it. One day. Alright. Vector Man. Another one of these games where you wonder, why isn't number 2 on there? Now, is Vector Man a good game, or is it just an overrated tech demo? Because I do love this title sequence. It's just like, wow, is the Mega Drive capable of doing that? The other thing is it came out too late in the Mega Drive cycle, I think. But Mega Drive was killing it in 95, which is why Sega of America was so reluctant to switch over to 32-bit at that era, because they were just raking in, you know, the money was coming in left, right, and center. I got to give this an A. I just think it's not quite good enough to go into the S group, but I do think it's a great addition. Rock hard game though, but good enough to it is good enough to put into the A category. So we now have only 3 games left. Actually, I should continue that. I want to... Hang on. No. Just continue. I want it to show gameplay footage. Is it going to? It was waiting for me. I don't know. Is this a glorified tech demo? You can't skip this bit, by the way. That's annoying. It plays super well. It is rock hard too. It's even got light shading. Like when he fires a gun, he flashes because of the fire. See that? That's not bad. Like, I know it's not real light shading. It's just a pre-rendered effect. But it still looks cool. And even little things like when explosions take place, the ground shakes up and down. Yeah, I think we've seen enough, but yeah, it's deserving of its A spot, I think. So we've got 3 more games remaining on our list. Oh dear. Yeah. Virtua Fighter 2. Why the hell is Virtua Fighter 2 on this console? What Brainiac decided that this was a game to go with on the Mega Drive Mini? It has no place on this list. Like, no one asked for this. And it's taking up a slot on the Mega Drive Mini that could have been taken up with a much better game. Like, we missed out on Musha released, but yet this got through. Oh, yeah, nah, it's going straight in the bin. It goes in the trash can, boys and girls. That is just, you know, I just really don't know why this game is on this list. Goes in the bin. So that's been royally flushed and dealt with. Oh dear. I don't even want to see the gameplay footage. I just want to move on. 2 more games remaining. Wonder Boy in Monster World. Freaking love this game. I gave this such a high review when I rated it for Megazone magazine. It is a Metro... God, I always screw this up. Metroidvania style game. I hate that term, but it is a term that everyone knows. It is just like Wonder Boy in Monsterland, but better. The music's great. Starts off slow, but if you stick with it, it's a slow burn, but it's a great game. And I hate the Western cover for this, but I love the Japanese one. And it's just such a shame that we never got the Japanese cover in the West, but that's another topic altogether. So Wonder Boy in Monster World goes up the top there in the S category because you know why? It is a freaking good game. That is why. And it's so deserving of being up there in that spot. And we are almost finished with our list. We've only got one more game to go. So, yeah, anyone that hasn't played Wonder Boy Monster World, get on that. That should be one of the first games you should be playing when you get this Mega Drive Mini or Genesis Mini, depending on where you are. And we have got the last game in the series. And it is World of Illusion. Illusion Shot Pictures. I never saw that before. I've got an EEPROM version of this, or a beta version of this game. Sounds different. Plays a little different. But I remember being amazed when I first saw this. And, okay, here's a little did you know fact. The Australian commercial for this game, the footage was shot by me. It was me playing it. So, it's a shame I haven't got a copy of that. I've been trying to find a copy of this online, but no, the TV commercial features gameplay footage that was being played by me at the time. And it's such a good game. I wouldn't say it's the best Disney game. I actually prefer I prefer Castle of Illusion, because Castle of Illusion was not trying to do too much. Hard to explain. It was more concentrating on the gameplay, whereas this is trying to be fantastic and brilliant. And it is, but it's a beautiful game for the Mega Drive. I just enjoy Castle of Illusion more. Castle of Illusion didn't really need the gimmick of the magic cape or whatever it is that they've got. World of Illusion is an A from me, says Goff. Is the commercial of you playing this on YouTube? No, Game Boy Brian, I've been looking around for footage of an Australian commercial featuring World of Illusion, and I cannot find anyone that's got any copy of the commercial. So I'll keep looking online for it. But if you ever see a TV commercial, Australian TV commercial of World of Illusion, with Sega being pronounced as Sega, you'll know it's me playing it. But where do we put World of Illusion in this list? Straight up, it's an A, because it's not. How would you put it? I prefer Castle of Illusion, but I don't hate on this game. It's just if you were to give me a choice of this or Castle of Illusion, I'd go Castle of Illusion, but I think it's still good enough to be in the A slot. So there you go. We finally did it. And I'm just looking through. It's kind of interesting that there wasn't many terrible games in this list. Yeah, there wasn't many terrible games in the Mega Drive Mini lineup. It was such a good lineup, and I just wish though that instead of 42 games, and again I don't understand why there was such a restriction on how many titles they put on there, especially when Sega themselves owns the rights to so many of their own games. There are a lot of games that didn't make this list that should have. We all know the story behind Sonic 3, Sonic Knuckles, and how that won't ever appear on the Mega Drive Mini because of Michael Jackson and the people that the estate behind the Michael Jackson family. I wish they would sort that out. Just have a meeting and say, look, we own the rights to the game. We understand that you want an invested interest in the music. Can we just come to some sort of a deal and call it a day? Game Boy Bryant says the only truly terrible game is Virtua Fighter 2. It could have been replaced with any better game. Yeah, there's so many other games that, like, even getting rid of that and putting Streets of Rage 3 or just Streets of Rage 1 would have been better. But you can't really complain too much about this list. I'm really happy with that. So what I'm going to do, now that we've got all those games, I'm going to stretch that out, and that's our tier. There we go. And I'm probably going to switch over now that you guys have had a chance to look at that properly. Just going to take you to the menu. You've probably already seen videos on this before, but I just want to show you guys for yourselves. When you go to language, you change it to any other language in the Asian regions, and you get this. That's awesome. Like it's so cool to see the Japanese covers. Especially, oh my god, that looks awesome. Ghouls and Ghost cover is like one of the best covers on the Mega Drive. The Japanese version especially. That Japanese logo just looks ridiculously good. Yeah, I don't know why that's there. Some great covers. It's interesting to see Road Rash 2 Japanese cover as well. Bare Knuckle 2. That cover's a bit psycho, isn't it? Look at the dude in the background. Full on. I don't really think much of the Japanese cover for Phantasy Star 4. It's not bad. Maybe I need to see it in the flesh. Favorite cover in amongst the Japanese lineup? I actually think that's the worst. I had that. I've got that. Well, I say I got that, but it was stolen. So I had Alex Kidd in Enchanted Castle and Golden Axe. This one. These two were like one of the first games I got for the Mega Drive, and they were both stolen from me by some punk that came and visited me back in the day. And look at little Fantasy Zone, Super Fantasy Zone. And when you do this, look at that. It just looks wrong. It's one of the Sunsoft games, that's why. Isn't that interesting that Sega themselves didn't do Fantasy Zone? They gave it to Sunsoft. Oh, we can't be bothered. You take care of it. And you got the super thick Road Rash 2 EA game as well. And it's interesting that Earthworm Jim doesn't have the MD logo at the top, as well as Virtual Fighter 2 and Vector Man. They were just giving up on their Mega Drive logo at that time. Well, guys, I'm really impressed with the Mega Drive Mini. I'm not finished yet though with my look at the Mega Drive Mini. I want to get the Japanese version. I'm still pressing to get a Japanese console sent out to me, so I'm still seeing how that pans out. No guarantees as yet, but we're working on it. I better switch this back over to the English version before I screw that up. You see, I know that off by heart. It looks weird, eh, when you switch it back over. And the music on the actual system looks cool. Sorry, sounds cool. And the spines on the Western versions are nice and neat. I personally don't like the fact though that Mega Drive went to this blue-white thing halfway through its life cycle. That would have messed with a lot of people who were collecting games for the system back in the day. So guys, what did you think of my tier, my Mega Drive, my look at the Mega Drive list? Do you think that I nailed it, or do you disagree with any of these? Is there a couple of games that didn't make it into the S bracket that you think should have? Let me know. I'm going to wrap this up because I am recording this for my YouTube channel. I'm not going to end it. I'm just going to wrap it and then cut the recording and then can stay on, so don't freak out and leave. So that's been my look at the Sega Mega Drive Mini and Genesis Mini. And I think that there's more games in that top list than I thought there would be. But those games are just too good to not put in that top bracket, in my opinion. Your list might be different to mine, but I think it would be... I think most people would have a list where a lot of the games are in the top and not many in the bottom. Unless you just hate on a particular game for whatever reason that most people like. Leave your comment section in the comment section down below. What do you think of the games that I've got there here in this list? Do you agree, or do you think that there should have been maybe some games that I missed out on? Am I nuts for missing out on one or two games? Or, for example, Castlevania, should that have been an S game, or do you think it's right where it is on A? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. I'll do more of these kind of videos moving on. Always trying to come up with new ideas for my videos on the channel. Until next time, my name's been Brian and I've been gaming since Spacies. Thanks, guys. Alright, so that's the end of the recording for the YouTube video. And I'm sticking around for a little longer for you guys in the chat. Oh, Wacko Jacko, how you doing there, matey? You just missed me putting together my little... I went through each and every one of these games and rated them. And... yeah, not a bad little list there, I think. I'm actually gawking at it now, happy with my little handiwork. I put this together last night. I was tempted to use one of these websites where you just build your own tiers and then use the website, but I thought, no, I don't want to use their website. I'm going to make my own. So I put this together last night, and copying and saving each and every one of those graphics for the covers was a pain, but I got it. The hardest one to get was Tetris, because Tetris, of course, it was officially released, but like then it got retracted, so it never really got supported. And it's just really hard to find an image for it online, but I found it. Tier lists are all the rage. Yeah, I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to come online and, oh, this is the Sega Mega Drive, and yeah, look, we're gonna unbox it like every other Joker. I didn't want to do that. But I do. You know, I have it here. It's all opened up. And I'm really loving it. And I really think that this is going to be a huge seller for the Christmas. And anyone that picks this up is not going to be disappointed. And also, it's a great complement console to go alongside the Super Nintendo Mini. Having those two consoles, the Mega Drive Mini and the Super Nintendo Mini, will keep you occupied for like hundreds of hours. And there's a lot of games on here that will... I mean, everyone keeps going on about how the Mega Drive doesn't have many RPGs. There's quite a few good RPGs on this that will keep you tied up. And some that just people never talk about. So I'm just switching over. So yeah, there's a lot of games that are on this list that people just do not talk about. So it's good to see that Sega are pushing ahead with some titles and bringing some titles to the limelight that might have otherwise been forgotten about. Wacko Jacko says, I'm kind of sad for the Super NES Mini since they've started doing the SNES online for Switch. You know what? I won't play the Switch online versions of the games because I want to... I own my Super Nintendo Mini. That's mine. You know what I mean? It's not reliant on me paying a subscription to gain access to it. And for that reason alone, I don't want to do the online playing games online with a subscription. That's also the kind of the reason why I'm not part of Games for Gold. I want to own the game. It's my game. I paid for it. I don't want to be told, oh, you can't play it now because your subscription is up. I know the easy answer to that is don't let your subscription run out, but that's not the point. And I just think that the Mini did a better job in presenting the Super Nintendo Mini. That is, it did a better job in presenting the games than what they've done with the online version of it on Switch. But no, I'm happy that Sega have finally come out with something decent like this rather than this junk. And this thing here that can go to hell. It'd be interesting to see what games are on here. It features 10 Sega licensed games. So this one's got Alien Storm. Well, there's a game that didn't get to the... That's interesting omission from this, isn't it? Alien Storm. It's got Altered Beast, Columns, SWAT, Fatal Labyrinth. Seriously, no one needs to play that. Golden Axe, Shadow Dancer. Again, another game that could have been on the Mini. Sonic Spinball, Streets of Rage 1, and Streets of Rage 3. Why would you not put Streets of Rage 2 on there? This is bizarre. So I'm going to switch over. So this is an Act Games special. 10 licensed games in one. It actually says limited edition Streets of Rage, except that it doesn't have the best Streets of Rage game of all time. Isn't that bizarre? And it just got those games showing there on the blurbs on the back. Why won't you focus? Focus! No, it's not going to focus. I've actually never opened this. Hang on. At Games. Oh, this is terrible. So that's the controller they offer you. Yeah. Compared to... So this is the 8-bit DOE, or retro-bit, sorry, the retro-bit controller that I just picked up today. This is the At Games version. Looking at those two alone doesn't really do much for you in the way of explaining how bad this is in comparison. Just the buttons don't feel good. There's a nice rounded edge to these buttons, and they just feel more official like compared to this trash white steaming pile of turd. And I've actually never pulled this out of the box. That's the console. Like, they didn't even make it look like a Mega Drive. And the sticker, look at the sticker. It's not even straight. Like, they've just banged the Mega Drive sticker on there. There's nothing to indicate that this is Streets of Rage, and yet it's supposed to be a limited edition. It's just, I really hate the fact that Sega went with Act Games, so that company can go to Hades. I really have no love or time for that company. Just, they phoned it in. They got the contract and they phoned it in. Unbelievable. So when they announced that Act Games were no longer going to be responsible for making the Mega Drive Mini, people were dancing in the streets, and it was a great day. I'm just glad that I'm glad, sorry for that noise. I'm just glad that Sega finally woke up to themselves and realized, no, we need to do this right. We've got the 30th anniversary of the Mega Drive. We need to address this properly. And even this one here, which was released by a company called Columbus Circle, was a better effort than the Act Games one. I actually kind of like this one. It's its own unique style, but it looks like something that Sega themselves would have designed. You can tell that they put a little bit of love and effort into the design and tried to retain the Mega Drive 2 aspect of it. And I picked that up in Japan, and I was happy with it. It accepts any game. You can put a Mega Drive cartridge in there and it will work, except virtual racing. But all that is behind us now. The Mega Drive Mini's here. We are now just waiting for it, I guess, to be hacked. It's only a matter of time before someone comes along and says, "Yep, we've done it." But until then, the games that are on here will keep you occupied. I don't want to make this sound like an advertisement, because I don't need to plug this. I think it's going to do itself its own plugging. But yeah, basically anyone that's hesitating on whether they should buy this or not, I think it's definitely worth going ahead with. I think I'm going to leave the stream at that. I've done my tier list, so there's another look at it one more last time. I will. Game Boy Bryant saying that the Act game systems are really bad. Yeah, it's such a shame because the HD one that they did had the potential to be a good system. Like, my only regret about this Mega Drive Mini is that it does not take cartridges. There is just no way you can put a cartridge in it. I think they could have done something like make the cartridges go into the left side of it or something like that. Would have been interesting. I'm just trying to picture how they could have, when the cartridge itself is like half the size of the actual console. Just to give you an idea. So there's a Mega Drive Mini, and that's a cartridge sitting on top of it. It dwarfs it. See what I mean? Hang on, let me get this camera right. Hang on, there we go. Look at the size of it. Like, there's the Mega Drive Mini. You can't put a cartridge in there. Look at that. Look at the cartridges going in on it. And that's a Tower of Power dwarfing it. This little thing here. There we go. Oh, we got some cheers. Thank you, Gurns. I'm glad to see you still there in the chat. I was worried about if anyone's falling asleep there. Look, let me get this camera back up in there. Yeah, guys, thanks for the cheers there. I'm going to wrap this up because I do need to get to bed. It's starting to get a little late. Plus, I got to just watch a Star Trek episode. Yeah, I'll see you on the next stream. I'll try and do one over the weekend. I want to do some Mega Drive mini games over the weekend, and maybe, I don't know, Phantasy Star 5 might be worth getting into on a stream. I just want to get a game that I think is, or Landstalker. I think Landstalker is probably the one I should go after. That's tough though. That game gets hard. Oh, Retro Game Brews, you've just missed out on my look at the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis Mini, and this is what I came up with. This is my tier list of the games that are on the system. And as you can see, there's not many on there that are trash. Yeah, you got a few average games, a couple of meh games, but for the most part, this is a solid list of games. They've done really well. So you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 13 top rated games and then 8 A rated games. So that's a lot of games there to keep you occupied on that system. Time to check out the VOD. Not sure what VOD means. I will put this together as a package, and I'll be putting this up on my YouTube channel. I do need to get going. Thanks for joining me though, guys, and I will be doing a stream at some point over the weekend. If you missed that, I will be on Tuesday night 7 to 9. Until next time, my name's been Brian and I've been gaming since Spacies. Thanks, guys. Bye.
It's Since Spacies. 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 Yeah. It's Since Spacies. 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 Yeah. It's Since Spacies. 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 Yeah. It's Since Spacies. It's Since Spacies. It's Since Spacies. It's Since Spacies. It's Since Spacies.